Do you want to successfully complete the C458 objective assessment exam? Then you are in the right place. Our website provides a list of questions and answers for your success in the C458 OA exam for free. We understand that acing your OA exam can be quite challenging. That's why we provide completely free exam guides and practice questions for you. In this video, we will cover questions from musculoskeletal system, nervous system, cardiorespiratory systems, digestive system, immune system. So let's get started. 1. A physical therapist is explaining to a patient why their knee feels unstable after an injury to a structure that normally holds the thigh bone to the shin bone and provides side-to-side stability. Which type of connective tissue was most likely damaged in this scenario? A. Cartilage. B. Tendon. C. Ligament. D. Striated muscle. Correct. Can you guess the answer? Correct answer, C. Ligament. Explanation. Option C is correct because ligaments are connective tissues that bind one bone to another and provide stability to joints such as the anterior cruciate ligament connecting the thigh to shin bone. Option A is incorrect because cartilage is flexible tissue that covers the ends of bones at joints to prevent friction, not a structure that connects bones to other bones. Option B is incorrect because tendons connect muscles to bones and help with movement rather than providing stability by binding two bones together at a joint. Option D is incorrect because striated muscle is skeletal muscle that moves bones and controls facial expressions, but does not connect bones to each other for joint stability. Let's get into what holds your joints together. This question describes a knee injury where the patient feels unstable. Specifically, they've damaged something connecting the thigh bone to the shin bone that provides side-to-side stability. That's a ligament. Ligaments are connective tissue bands that tie one bone to another. Think of them as the body's internal straps holding joints in place. The anterior cruciate ligament, or ACL, is a classic example. It connects the femur to the tibia and keeps your knee from wobbling sideways. Now, cartilage covers bone ends to prevent friction, so that's not right here. Tendons connect muscles to bones. They help you move, but they don't stabilize joints by binding bones together. Striated muscle is skeletal muscle that moves your body, not the tissue keeping bones linked. Here's a WGU C458 OA exam tip for you. When you see bone to bone and stability, in the same question, think ligament, quick recall hook, ligament equal sign linkage between bones. 2. A runner experiences pain at the back of their heel where the calf muscles attach to the heel bone. The healthcare provider suspects damage to a structure that aids in the movement of bones. What type of connective tissue is most likely affected in this clinical presentation? A. Tendon. B. Cartilage. C. Ligament. D. Smooth muscle. Can you guess the answer? Correct answer, A. Tendon. Explanation. Option A is correct because tendons attach muscles to bones and aid in movement. The Achilles tendon specifically connects the calf muscles to the heel bone in this scenario. Option B is incorrect because cartilage covers the ends of bones at joints to prevent friction and does not connect muscles to bones or aid in pulling movements. Option C is incorrect because ligaments connect bones to other bones for stability rather than attaching muscles to bones for movement, as described in this scenario. Option D is incorrect because smooth muscle lines internal organs and blood vessels and is not a connective tissue that attaches skeletal muscles to bones externally. Alright, this one's about where muscles attach to bones. The runner has pain at the back of their heel, where the calf muscles connect to the heel bone. That connection point is a tendon, specifically the Achilles tendon, the thickest and strongest tendon in the body. Tendons are the tough cords that anchor muscles to bones so you can actually move. When your calf muscle contracts, it pulls on the Achilles tendon, which pulls on the heel bone, and that's how you push off the ground when walking or running. Cartilage? That's the smooth tissue capping bone ends at joints. It prevents grinding, not attachment. Ligaments bind bones to other bones for stability, not muscles to bones. Smooth muscle lines your organs and blood vessels. It's involuntary and internal, not something attaching your leg muscles externally. Here's a WGU C458 OA exam tip for you. When the question mentions muscle attaching to bone or aiding movement, go with tendon. Quick recall hook. Tendon equals sign, the tie from muscle to bone. 3. A medical student is studying different types of joints and notices that some joints allow extensive movement in multiple directions while others permit no movement at all. Which joint classification would best describe the shoulder, which moves freely in many different directions? A. Immovable joint. B. Slightly movable joint. C. Freely movable joint. D. Fixed joint. Do you know the answer? Correct answer, C. Freely movable joint. Explanation: option C is correct because freely movable joints like the shoulder allow extensive movement in multiple directions, making them highly flexible for various arm motions and activities. Option A is incorrect because immovable joints do not permit any movement and are typically found in structures like the skull, where protection is more important than mobility. Option B is incorrect because slightly movable joints only allow limited movement, unlike the shoulder, which requires a full range of motion for arm movements in all directions. Option D is incorrect because fixed joints are another term for immovable joints and do not describe the extensive range of motion characteristic of shoulder joint function. This question is testing whether you know joint classifications. The shoulder can move up, down, forward, backward, and rotate in circles. That's a freely movable joint. Joints come in three main types based on how much they move. Immovable joints, like the ones fusing your skull bones together, don't budge at all. Slightly movable joints, like those between your vertebrae, allow limited motion. Freely movable joints, also called synovial joints, let you swing your arms, bend your knees, and rotate your wrists. The shoulder is a ball and socket joint, which is the most mobile type of freely movable joint. Fixed joint is just another name for immovable, so that's wrong for the same reason. Here's a WGU C458 OA exam tip for you. When a question describes movement in multiple directions, that's your signal for freely movable joint. Quick recall hook, free equals sign, full range of motion. 4. During a health education session, a nurse explains that certain body structures serve both supportive and protective functions, such as the skull protecting the brain. Which additional protective function do bones provide for vital structures in the thoracic cavity? A. Shielding the heart and lungs. B. Producing hormones for metabolism. C. Regulating body temperature. D. Filtering waste from blood. Do you know the answer? Correct answer, A. Shielding the heart and lungs. Explanation: option A is correct because bones like the ribs and sternum in the thoracic cavity protect vital organs, including the heart and lungs, from external trauma and injury. Option B is incorrect because producing hormones for metabolism is a function of the endocrine system glands, and not a protective role that bones play for internal organs. Option C is incorrect because regulating body temperature is primarily a function of the skin and integumentary system, rather than a protective function performed by the skeletal system. Option D is incorrect because filtering waste from blood is the primary function of the kidneys in the urinary system, and not a protective function provided by the skeletal system. Here's one about what bones actually do beyond just holding you upright. The question asks what bones protect in the thoracic cavity. That's your chest. The answer is shielding the heart and lungs. Your ribs wrap around your chest like a cage, and the sternum, your breastbone, sits right in front. Together they form a protective shell around your most vital organs. Without this bony armour, a simple fall could crush your heart or puncture a lung. Now, the other options mix up body systems. Producing hormones, that's your endocrine system, glands like the thyroid and pancreas. Regulating body temperature, that's mostly your skin and sweat glands in the integumentary system. Filtering waste from blood, that's your kidneys in the urinary system. Bones do none of those things. Here's a WGU C458 OA exam tip for you. When asked about bone functions, remember the big three: support, protection, and movement. Quick recall hook. Ribs =, rib cage =, organ cage. 5. A patient asks their doctor why they can hear clicking sounds in their knee joint during movement. The doctor explains that a tough but flexible tissue that normally prevents bones from rubbing together may be wearing down. What structure is the doctor describing? A. Ligament, B. Tendon, C. Striated muscle, D. Cartilage. What do you think is the answer? Correct answer, D. Cartilage. Explanation: option D is correct because cartilage is the tough but flexible tissue covering bone ends at joints that prevents bones from rubbing together and causing friction during movement. Option A is incorrect because ligaments bind bones together for stability, but do not cover bone surfaces to prevent friction and grinding between bones at joint sites. Option B is incorrect because tendons connect muscles to bones for movement purposes and do not serve as a protective cushion between bones at joint surfaces. Option C is incorrect because striated muscle is responsible for voluntary movement of bones and facial expressions, not for preventing bone surfaces from grinding together. This patient hears clicking in their knee, and the doctor says a tough but flexible tissue that prevents bone grinding is wearing down. That's cartilage. Cartilage is the smooth, rubbery tissue that caps the ends of bones where they meet at joints. It acts like a cushion. When it's healthy, your bones glide past each other silently. When cartilage wears away, bone rubs against bone, and you get that clicking, grinding, or popping sound. This wear and tear is exactly what happens in osteoarthritis. Ligaments connect bones to bones for stability. They don't sit between bone surfaces. Tendons connect muscles to bones for movement. Also not between joint surfaces. Striated muscle moves your skeleton but doesn't cushion joints. Here's a WGU C458 OA exam tip for you. Keywords like prevents friction, bone rubbing, or wearing down at joints point straight to cartilage. Quick recall hook. Cartilage =, cushion between bones. 6. A healthcare provider is explaining to a patient that messages from their injured hand travel through a specific pathway to reach the brain for processing. The brain then sends response signals back through the same system. Which division of the nervous system contains the brain and spinal cords? A. Peripheral nervous system, B. Central nervous system, C. Autonomic nervous system, D. Sensory nervous system. What do you think is the answer? Correct answer, B. Central nervous system. Explanation: option B is correct, because the central nervous system consists of the brain and spinal cord, which process incoming sensory information and direct all body functions through response signals. Option A is incorrect because the peripheral nervous system consists of all nerves outside the brain and spinal cord that relay messages to and from the central nervous system. Option C is incorrect because the autonomic nervous system is a subdivision that controls involuntary functions and is not the main division containing the brain and spinal cords. Option D is incorrect because the sensory nervous system refers to pathways that detect stimuli and is not the classification that includes the brain and spinal cord structures. Time to talk nervous system divisions. The question describes messages travelling from an injured hand to the brain, then the brain sending signals back. It asks which division contains the brain and spinal cord. That's the central nervous system, or CNS. The nervous system splits into two main parts. The central nervous system is your command centre. The brain does the thinking and processing, and the spinal cord is the main highway connecting the brain to everything else. The peripheral nervous system is everything outside of that, all the nerves branching out to your arms, legs, skin and organs. The autonomic nervous system controls involuntary stuff like heart rate and digestion, but it's a subdivision, not the main division housing the brain. Sensory nervous system describes pathways that detect stimuli, not a structural division. Here's a WGU C458 OA exam tip for you. Central equals sign brain and spinal cord only. Everything else equals sign peripheral. Quick recall hook. CNS equals sign command center in your head and spine. 7. A neurologist explains to a patient that nerves in their arms, legs and internal organs send information to the brain and receive commands back from it. These nerves exist outside of the brain and spinal cord. Which nervous system division do these nerves belong to? A. Central nervous system. B. Homeostatic nervous system. C. Regulatory nervous system. D. Peripheral nervous system. What do you think is the answer? Correct answer, D. Peripheral nervous system. Explanation. Option D is correct because the peripheral nervous system includes all nerves outside the brain and spinal cord that relay messages between the central nervous system and body parts. Option A is incorrect because the central nervous system only includes the brain and spinal cord and does not encompass the nerves extending into the limbs and organs. Option B is incorrect because homeostatic nervous system is not a recognized anatomical division of the nervous system used to classify nerve locations throughout the body. Option C is incorrect because regulatory nervous system is not an official classification and does not describe the anatomical organization of nerves outside the brain and spinal cord. Now we're looking at the other half, nerves in the arms, legs and organs that exist outside the brain and spinal cord. These belong to the peripheral nervous system or PNS. The peripheral nervous system is basically every nerve that isn't part of the brain or spinal cord. It's the messenger network carrying information to and from the central command. Sensory nerves in your fingertips send signals to your brain. Motor nerves carry commands back telling muscles to move. The central nervous system only includes the brain and spinal cord. It doesn't reach into your limbs. Homeostatic nervous system? Not a real classification. Regulatory nervous system? Also not a recognized term. The exam loves throwing fake-sounding options at you. Here's a WGU C458 OA exam tip for you. If the question mentions nerves in limbs or organs outside the spine, that's peripheral. Quick recall hook. Peripheral equals sign the perimeter. Everything at the edges. 8. A student is learning that specialized cells in certain organs react to environmental stimuli, like light and sound waves. This sensory information is then transmitted through specific nerves to the brain for interpretation. Which organs contain these sensitive cells that communicate with the peripheral nervous system? A. Liver, kidneys and pancreas. B. Heart, lungs and stomach. C. Eyes, ears, nose and mouth. D. Bones, muscles and tendons. Do you know the answer? Correct answer, C. Eyes, ears, nose and mouth. Explanation. Option C is correct because sensory organs, including the eyes, ears, nose and mouth, contain specialized cells that react to light, sound and other stimuli and communicate through cranial nerves. Option A is incorrect because the liver, kidneys and pancreas are internal organs involved in metabolism and filtration, rather than detecting environmental stimuli like light and sound. Option B is incorrect because the heart, lungs and stomach are vital organs for circulation, breathing and digestion, but do not contain specialized sensory cells for environmental stimuli. Option D is incorrect because bones, muscles and tendons are part of the musculoskeletal system for support and movement rather than organs containing specialized sensory receptor cells. Which organs have specialized cells that detect light, sound and other environmental stimuli? The answer is eyes, ears, nose and mouth. These are your sensory organs. The eyes have photoreceptors that detect light. The ears have hair cells that pick up sound vibrations. The nose has olfactory receptors for smell. The mouth has taste buds for detecting chemicals in food. These specialized cells convert environmental information into nerve signals that travel through cranial nerves to the brain. Liver, kidneys, and pancreas handle metabolism and filtration. They don't detect environmental stimuli. Heart, lungs, and stomach keep you alive but aren't sensory organs. Bones, muscles, and tendons move you around but don't house the specialized sensory receptors the question describes. Here's a WGU C458 OA exam tip for you. Environmental stimuli like light and sound are detected by sensory organs. Eyes, ears, nose, mouth. Quick recall hook. Senses equal signs special organs on your face. 9. A biology instructor describes a state where all body systems work together to maintain internal stability, allowing the body to survive and function correctly. This balanced state is essential for proper nervous system function. What term describes this condition of internal balance? A. Metabolism. B. Homeostasis. C. Circulation. D. Respiration. What do you think is the answer? Correct answer, B. Homeostasis. Explanation: option B is correct because homeostasis refers to the state of balance among all body systems that is necessary for the body to survive and function correctly. Option A is incorrect because metabolism refers to the chemical processes of converting food to energy and building materials rather than the overall balance among body systems. Option C is incorrect because circulation specifically refers to the movement of blood through the cardiovascular system and not the broader concept of internal body balance and stability. Option D is incorrect because respiration is the process of breathing and gas exchange in the lungs rather than the maintenance of overall internal stability across all body systems. This question defines a state where all body systems work together to maintain internal stability. That's homeostasis. Homeostasis is your body's balancing act, keeping temperature, pH, blood sugar, and fluid levels within normal ranges so everything functions properly. When you're hot, you sweat. When blood sugar drops, you feel hungry. These are homeostatic responses. The nervous system plays a big role in this, constantly monitoring conditions and triggering adjustments. Metabolism is how your body converts food into energy and building materials. It's a process, not a state of balance. Circulation is blood flow through vessels, respiration is breathing, and gas exchange. Neither describes the overall concept of maintaining internal stability across all systems. Here's a WGU C458 OA exam tip for you. Internal balance, stability, or equilibrium all points to homeostasis. Quick recall hook. Homeostasis equals sign homeostasis. Things stay stable. 10. A patient who touched a hot stove pulled their hand away instantly before consciously thinking about it. A healthcare provider explains that specialized cells carry the signal from the hand to the spinal cord and brain. What are these specialized signal-carrying cells called? A. Platelets. B. Hormones. C. Nerves. D. Antibodies. Do you know the answer? Correct answer, C. Nerves. Explanation: option C is correct because nerves are specialized cells that carry impulses from one part of the body to another, enabling rapid communication like the reflex response to heat. Option A is incorrect because platelets are blood cell fragments involved in clotting and wound healing, rather than carrying electrical signals between body parts and the brain. Option B is incorrect because hormones are chemical messengers released by glands that travel through blood, not specialized cells that carry rapid electrical impulses through tissues. Option D is incorrect because antibodies are proteins produced by the immune system to fight pathogens rather than specialized cells that transmit nerve impulses throughout the body. Someone touches a hot stove and yanks their hand back before they even think about it. The question asks what specialized cells carried that signal. The answer is nerves. Nerves are specialized cells that transmit electrical impulses from one body part to another. In this reflex arc, sensory nerves in the hand detected heat and shot a signal to the spinal cord, which triggered motor nerves to contract muscles and pull the hand away, all before the brain even processed pain. Platelets are blood cell fragments that help with clotting when you're injured. Hormones are chemical messengers that travel through blood. They work slowly compared to nerves. Antibodies are immune proteins that fight infections. None of these carry rapid electrical signals like nerves do. Here's a WGU C458 OA exam tip for you. Impulses, signals, and rapid communication between body parts means nerves. Quick recall hook. Nerves equals sign electrical wiring of the body. 11. A respiratory therapist explains to a patient that tiny structures in the lungs are responsible for the critical exchange of oxygen entering the blood and carbon dioxide leaving the blood. What are these microscopic structures where gas exchange occurs called? A. Bronchi. B. Alveoli. C. Pharynx. D. Trachea. Can you guess the answer? Correct answer, B. Alveoli. Explanation: option B is correct because alveoli are the tiny air sacs in the lungs where the exchange of oxygen and carbon dioxide occurs between the air and the blood and capillaries. Option A is incorrect because bronchi are larger airway passages that branch from the trachea and carry air toward the lungs but are not the site of gas exchange. Option C is incorrect because the pharynx is the throat, which is part of the upper respiratory tract that serves as a passageway for air rather than a gas exchange site. Option D is incorrect because the trachea is the windpipe that carries air from the throat toward the lungs but does not perform the actual exchange of gases with blood. The question describes tiny lung structures where oxygen enters the blood and carbon dioxide exits. Those are alveoli. Alveoli are microscopic air sacs clustered at the ends of the smallest airways in your lungs. Picture them like tiny grapes at the end of a vine. Their walls are incredibly thin, just one cell thick, allowing gases to pass through easily. Oxygen from inhaled air diffuses through the alveolar wall into surrounding capillaries. Carbon dioxide from the blood diffuses the other way into the alveoli to be exhaled. Bronchi are larger tubes that branch from the trachea and carry air toward the lungs, but gas exchange doesn't happen there. The pharynx is your throat, just a passageway. The trachea is the windpipe, also just transport, no exchange. Here's a WGU C458 OA exam tip for you. Gas exchange in the lungs happens only in the alveoli. Tiny sacs, thin walls surrounded by capillaries. Quick recall hook. Alveoli equals sign air sacs for gas swap. 12. A nursing student is studying the cardiovascular system and learns that one type of blood vessel carries oxygen-rich blood away from the heart to supply body tissues. Another type returns oxygen-poor blood back toward the heart. Which vessels carry blood away from the heart? A. Veins. B. Capillaries. C. Arteries. D. Lymph vessels. Can you guess the answer? Correct answer, C. Arteries. Explanation: option C is correct because arteries are blood vessels specifically designed to carry blood away from the heart to the body tissues, starting with the large aorta. Option A is incorrect because veins carry oxygen-poor blood back toward the heart from the body tissues rather than carrying blood away from the heart to tissues. Option B is incorrect because capillaries are the smallest blood vessels where exchange occurs between blood and cells, not the main vessels carrying blood from the heart. Option D is incorrect because lymph vessels are part of the immune system and transport lymph fluid, not oxygenated blood from the heart to body tissues. Which blood vessels carry blood away from the heart? Arteries. Here's an easy way to remember it. Arteries carry blood away. Both start with A. The heart pumps blood out through arteries, starting with the aorta, the body's largest artery. From there, arteries branch into smaller and smaller vessels, delivering oxygen-rich blood to tissues. Veins do the opposite. They return blood back to the heart. Think V for return voyage. Capillaries are the tiny vessels where exchange actually happens between blood and cells. Lymph vessels carry lymph fluid as part of the immune system, not blood. One exception students often miss. Pulmonary arteries carry oxygen-poor blood to the lungs, while pulmonary veins return oxygen-rich blood. But the general rule holds. Arteries carry blood away from the heart. Here's a WGU C458 OA exam tip for you. Away from heart = arteries. Back to heart = veins. Quick recall hook. Arteries = away, both start with A. 13. A cardiologist describes to a patient how blood flows through the 4 chambers of the heart. The 2 upper chambers receive blood entering the heart, while the 2 lower chambers pump blood out of the heart. What are the names of these upper and lower chambers respectively? A. Ventricles and atria. B. Atria and ventricles. C. Aorta and vena cava. D. Arteries and veins. Do you know the answer? Correct answer, B. Atria and ventricles. Explanation: option B is correct because the atria are the 2 upper chambers that receive blood entering the heart, while the ventricles are the 2 lower chambers that pump blood out. Option A is incorrect because it reverses the correct order, stating ventricles as upper chambers when ventricles are actually the lower pumping chambers of the heart. Option C is incorrect because the aorta and vena cava are major blood vessels connected to the heart, rather than the names of the 4 internal heart chambers. Option D is incorrect because arteries and veins are types of blood vessels throughout the body and not the names of the chambers located inside the heart itself. The question asks about the 4 chambers of the heart. 2 upper chambers receive blood, 2 lower chambers pump it out. What are they called? The upper chambers are atria and the lower chambers are ventricles, so the answer is atria and ventricles, in that order. The right atrium receives oxygen-poor blood returning from the body. The left atrium receives oxygen-rich blood returning from the lungs. Then the ventricles do the heavy lifting. The right ventricle pumps blood to the lungs and the left ventricle pumps blood to the entire body, which is why its wall is the thickest. Option A reverses the order, which is wrong. The aorta and vena cava are major blood vessels attached to the heart, not chambers inside it. Arteries and veins are vessel types throughout the body. Here's a WGU C458 OA exam tip for you. Atria on top receive, ventricles on bottom pump. Quick recall hook. A before V. Atria above ventricles. 14. A health educator explains that blood constantly circulates through the body, delivering nutrients and oxygen to cells while removing waste products like carbon dioxide and water. What is the term for this continuous process of blood flow throughout the body? A. Respiration. B. Digestion. C. Circulation. D. Filtration. Can you guess the answer? Correct answer, C. Circulation. Explanation: option C is correct because circulation is the process by which the cardiovascular system provides a constant supply of nutrients and oxygen to cells through continuous blood flow. Option A is incorrect because respiration specifically refers to the process of breathing and gas exchange in the lungs rather than the overall movement of blood through the body. Option B is incorrect because digestion is the process of breaking down food in the digestive tract, and not the continuous transport of blood carrying nutrients through vessels. Option D is incorrect because filtration refers to the process of removing waste from blood, primarily in the kidneys, rather than the overall movement of blood throughout the body. What's the term for the continuous process of blood flowing through the body, delivering nutrients and oxygen while removing waste? That's circulation. The cardiovascular system is a closed loop. Heart pumps blood through arteries to capillaries where exchange happens. Then veins return it to the heart. This constant movement is circulation. It never stops while you're alive. Every cell depends on this flow to get oxygen and fuel and to dump carbon dioxide and other waste. Respiration is specifically breathing and gas exchange in the lungs. It's part of the process, but not the whole picture. Digestion is breaking down food in your gut. Filtration is removing waste from blood, mainly in the kidneys. None of these describe the overall movement of blood. Here's a WGU C458 OA exam tip for you. Blood moving through vessels equals sign circulation. Quick recall hook. Circulation equals sign circle. Blood travels in a loop. 15. A patient asks their doctor about the difference between the upper and lower respiratory passages. The doctor explains that the lower respiratory tract includes the windpipe and the structures that branch into the lungs. Which structure is commonly called the windpipe? A. Pharynx. B. Larynx. C. Bronchi. D. Trachea. Do you know the answer? Correct answer, D. Trachea. Explanation: option D is correct because the trachea is commonly referred to as the windpipe and is the main airway tube that carries air from the throat down toward the lungs. Option A is incorrect because the pharynx is the throat, which is part of the upper respiratory tract and serves as a passageway for both air and food. Option B is incorrect because the larynx is the voice box located in the upper respiratory tract and is responsible for sound production rather than being the windpipe. Option C is incorrect because the bronchi are the branching airways that extend from the trachea into the lungs rather than being the single tube known as the windpipe. The doctor says the lower respiratory tract includes the windpipe and the structures branching into the lungs. What's the windpipe called? The trachea. The trachea is the tube that runs from your throat down to where it splits into the two bronchi going into each lung. You can feel the front of it if you touch the front of your neck. Those ridges are the cartilage rings that keep it open. The respiratory tract has upper and lower divisions. Upper includes the nose, nasal cavity, pharynx and larynx. Lower includes the trachea, bronchi, bronchioles and alveoli. The pharynx is your throat. That's upper tract. The larynx is your voice box, also upper tract. The bronchi branch off from the trachea, but aren't called the windpipe. Here's a WGU C458 OA exam tip for you. Windpipe equals sign trachea. It's the main trunk before the bronchial branches. Quick recall hook. Trachea equals sign the tube to your lungs. 16. A gastroenterologist explains to a patient that nutrients from digested food must pass into the bloodstream to be useful to the body. This transfer of nutrients occurs in a specific part of the digestive tract after food leaves the stomach. Where does nutrient absorption primarily occur? A. Large intestine. B. Esophagus. C. Small intestine. D. Stomach. Do you know the answer? Correct answer, C. Small intestine. Explanation: option C is correct because the small intestine is where absorption of nutrients into the bloodstream occurs after partially digested food moves out of the stomach for processing. Option A is incorrect because the large intestine primarily absorbs water and electrolytes and forms solid waste rather than being the main site for nutrient absorption into blood. Option B is incorrect because the esophagus is simply a tube that connects the mouth to the stomach and does not perform absorption of nutrients into the bloodstream. Option D is incorrect because the stomach mixes food with digestive juices and churns it into liquid, but is not the primary location where nutrients are absorbed into blood. Where does nutrient absorption primarily occur after food leaves the stomach? The small intestine. Despite its name, the small intestine is actually about 20 feet long in adults. It's called small because of its narrow diameter compared to the large intestine. The inner surface is covered with tiny finger-like projections called villi that massively increase surface area for absorption. Nutrients pass through the intestinal wall into the bloodstream here. The large intestine mainly absorbs water and electrolytes and compacts waste into stool. Very little nutrient absorption happens there. The esophagus is just a transport tube from mouth to stomach. The stomach churns food and adds acid and enzymes, but absorption is minimal there. Here's a WGU C458 OA exam tip for you. Nutrient absorption =, small intestine. Water absorption and waste =, large intestine. Quick recall hook, small intestine =, soak up nutrients. 17. A patient who had their gallbladder removed asks how their body will digest fats without this organ. The surgeon explains that another organ still produces a yellow-green fluid essential for fat digestion, which will now flow directly to the intestines. Which organ produces this digestive fluid? A. Pancreas. B. Liver. C. Salivary glands. D. Stomach. Do you know the answer? Correct answer, B. Liver. Explanation: option B is correct because the liver produces bile, the yellow-green fluid that helps digest and absorb fats, which the gallbladder normally stores before releasing to the intestines. Option A is incorrect because the pancreas secretes enzymes and hormones like insulin for digestion, but does not produce bile, the specific fluid needed for fat digestion. Option C is incorrect because salivary glands produce saliva that moistens food and begins carbohydrate breakdown in the mouth rather than producing bile for fat digestion. Option D is incorrect because the stomach produces digestive juices and acid that break down food but does not produce bile, which is specifically made by the liver. A patient had their gallbladder removed and asks how they'll digest fats. The surgeon says another organ still produces bile. Which organ makes bile? The liver. The liver produces bile, a yellow-green fluid that breaks down fats into smaller droplets, so enzymes can digest them more easily. Normally, the gallbladder stores and concentrates bile between meals, then squirts it into the small intestine when you eat fatty food. Without a gallbladder, bile just drips continuously from the liver into the intestine. Fat digestion still works, just less efficiently, for large fatty meals. The pancreas makes digestive enzymes and insulin, but not bile. Salivary glands produce saliva for carbohydrate digestion in the mouth. The stomach makes acid and enzymes, but not bile. Here's a WGU C458 OA exam tip for you. Bile =, liver. Gallbladder stores it, liver makes it. Quick recall hook. Liver =, bile factory. 18. A nephrologist explains to a patient that two bean-shaped organs filter waste products from the blood and produce urine. These organs are located in the abdominal cavity on either side of the spine and are protected by surrounding fat. What organs is the doctor describing? A. Bladder and urethra. B. Ureters and bladder. C. Kidneys. D. Adrenal glands. What do you think is the answer? Correct answer, C. Kidneys. Explanation: option C is correct because the kidneys are bean-shaped organs located in the abdominal cavity on either side of the spine that filter waste from blood and produce urine. Option A is incorrect because the bladder stores urine and the urethra expels it, but neither filters blood or produces urine as the kidneys do in this location. Option B is incorrect because ureters are tubes that transport urine from kidneys to the bladder, and the bladder stores urine rather than filtering blood to produce it. Option D is incorrect because adrenal glands sit on top of the kidneys and produce hormones but do not filter waste from blood or produce urine like the kidneys do. Two bean-shaped organs filter waste from blood and produce urine. They're in the abdominal cavity on either side of the spine. What organs are these? The kidneys. Your kidneys filter about 200 quarts of blood daily, pulling out waste products like urea and excess water to form urine. They sit behind your abdominal organs, protected by fat and the lower ribs. Each kidney connects to a ureter, a tube that carries urine down to the bladder for storage. When you urinate, urine exits through the urethra. The bladder and urethra store and expel urine but don't filter blood. Ureters just transport urine, no filtering. Adrenal glands sit on top of the kidneys and make hormones like adrenaline, but they don't filter blood or make urine. Here's a WGU C458 OA exam tip for you. Bean-shaped filter blood. Make urine equal sign kidneys. Quick recall. Hook. Kidneys equal sign bean-shaped blood filters. 19. A nutrition educator explains that the digestive system has 4 main functions that work together to process food. These include taking food into the body, breaking it down, absorbing nutrients, and removing solid waste. What is the term for the process of taking food into the body through the mouth? A. Digestion. B. Absorption. C. Elimination. D. Ingestion. What do you think is the answer? Correct answer, D. Ingestion. Explanation. Option D is correct because ingestion is the specific term for taking food into the body through the mouth, which is the first of the 4 main digestive system functions. Option A is incorrect because digestion refers to the breakdown of food into smaller molecules rather than the initial act of taking food into the body through the mouth. Option B is incorrect because absorption is the process of nutrients passing from the digestive tract into the bloodstream after food has already been broken down. Option C is incorrect because elimination is the final function where solid waste is removed from the body through the anus after digestion and absorption are complete. The digestive system has 4 main functions: taking food in, breaking it down, absorbing nutrients, and eliminating waste. What's the term for taking food into the body through the mouth? Ingestion. Ingestion is step 1, physically putting food into your mouth. Then digestion breaks it down mechanically and chemically. Absorption moves nutrients from the gut into the bloodstream. Elimination removes solid waste through the anus. These 4 terms describe the complete digestive process from start to finish. Digestion is specifically the breakdown phase, not the intake. Absorption happens in the small intestine after breakdown. Elimination is the last step, getting rid of what you can't use. Here's a WGU C458 OA exam tip for you. Food going in through the mouth equals sign ingestion. Quick recall hook. Ingestion equals sign food going in. 20. A urologist explains to a patient that the urinary system removes harmful waste products from the blood so they do not build up and damage the body. The system also reabsorbs needed fluids and salts. Which waste products are specifically filtered out by the kidneys? A. Carbon dioxide and oxygen. B. Urea and uric acid. C. Glucose and proteins. D. Hormones and enzymes. Can you guess the answer? Correct answer, B. Urea and uric acid. Explanation: option B is correct because the kidneys specifically filter out waste products like urea and uric acid from the bloodstream and remove them from the body through urine. Option A is incorrect because carbon dioxide is removed by the respiratory system through the lungs, not filtered by the kidneys, and oxygen is needed by the body. Option C is incorrect because glucose and proteins are nutrients the body needs and reabsorbs rather than waste products that need to be filtered out and eliminated. Option D is incorrect because hormones and enzymes are chemical messengers and catalysts the body produces and uses rather than waste products filtered by the kidneys. The urinary system removes harmful waste products from blood so they don't build up. Which specific waste products do the kidneys filter out? Urea and uric acid. These are nitrogen-containing waste products from protein metabolism. When your body breaks down proteins and nucleic acids, it produces these compounds that would be toxic if they accumulated. The kidneys pull them out of the blood and excrete them in urine. Carbon dioxide is a waste product, but it's removed by the lungs through breathing, not the kidneys. Oxygen isn't waste, you need it. Glucose and proteins are nutrients your body keeps and reabsorbs, not filters out. Hormones and enzymes are functional molecules your body produces and uses. Here's a WGU C458 OA exam tip for you. Kidney waste equals sign urea and uric acid from protein breakdown. Lung waste equals sign carbon dioxide. Quick recall hook. Kidneys kick out urea and uric acid. 21. A pediatrician explains to parents that their child's body has a complex network that defends against bacteria, viruses, and other foreign invaders. This system produces special cells that find and destroy harmful substances. What type of blood cells does this defensive system primarily use? A. Red blood cells. B. Platelets. C. White blood cells. D. Plasma cells. Do you know the answer? Correct answer, C. White blood cells. Explanation. Option C is correct because white blood cells, also called leukocytes, are produced by the immune system to find and destroy bacteria, viruses, parasites, and other foreign invaders. Option A is incorrect because red blood cells carry oxygen throughout the body and do not have the function of finding and destroying foreign invaders like pathogens. Option B is incorrect because platelets are cell fragments involved in blood clotting and wound healing rather than identifying and destroying foreign invaders in the body. Option D is incorrect because plasma cells are a specific type derived from immune cells, but the general term for defensive immune cells is white blood cells or leukocytes. Let's break down the body's defense system. The question describes a network that fights bacteria, viruses, and other invaders by producing special cells. Those cells are white blood cells, also called leukocytes. White blood cells are the soldiers of your immune system. They patrol your bloodstream and tissues, hunting for anything that doesn't belong: bacteria, viruses, parasites, even cancer cells. When they find a threat, they attack it, engulf it, or mark it for destruction. Red blood cells carry oxygen. That's their only job. They're not fighters. Platelets handle clotting when you get a cut. They plug holes, not fight germs. Plasma cells are actually a type of white blood cell that makes antibodies. But the general answer the exam wants is white blood cells. Here's a WGU C458 OA exam tip for you. Immune defense and destroying pathogens means white blood cells. Quick recall hook. White blood cells equal sign warriors against invaders. 22. A microbiologist explains the 4 main types of germs that cause disease in humans. One type consists of single-celled organisms that multiply quickly and may produce harmful toxins. Antibiotics are effective against infections caused by these organisms. What type of germ is being described? A. Viruses. B. Fungi. C. Parasites. D. Bacteria. Do you know the answer? Correct answer, D. Bacteria. Explanation. Option D is correct because bacteria are one-celled germs that multiply quickly, may emit toxins, and can be treated with antibiotics, which are specifically designed for bacterial infections. Option A is incorrect because viruses are tiny capsules containing genetic material that invade cells, and antibiotics are not effective against viral infections which require different treatment. Option B is incorrect because fungi are plant-like organisms such as molds and yeasts that cause infections like athlete's foot, but are not treated effectively with standard antibiotics. Option C is incorrect because parasites are organisms that live on or in other living things and cause diseases like malaria, but they are not the single-celled germs treated by antibiotics. This question describes single-celled germs that multiply quickly, may produce toxins, and respond to antibiotics. That's bacteria. Bacteria are one-celled organisms, some helpful, most harmless, but some cause serious infections. The harmful ones can release toxins that damage tissues or trigger immune responses. The key detail here is antibiotics. Antibiotics specifically target bacterial cells. They disrupt bacterial cell walls or reproduction. They do nothing against viruses because viruses aren't cells. Viruses are tiny packets of genetic material that hijack your own cells to reproduce. Fungi are plant-like organisms. Think yeast infections, athlete's foot, ringworm. Antifungals treat those, not standard antibiotics. Parasites are organisms living off a host. Malaria, tapeworms. Different drugs entirely. Here's a WGU C458 OA exam tip for you. If the question mentions antibiotics working, the answer is bacteria. Quick recall hook. Antibiotics == antibacteria. 23. An infection control nurse teaches students about how disease is spread between people. One method involves touching a surface that an infected person previously contacted, such as a door handle. What type of disease transmission is this scenario describing? A. Direct contact. B. Indirect contact. C. Contamination. D. Airborne transmission. Can you guess the answer? Correct answer, B. Indirect contact. Explanation: option B is correct because indirect contact transmission occurs when a person touches an object or surface that has germs on it from a previously infected person. Option A is incorrect because direct contact requires physical touching, kissing, or other close contact with an infected person rather than touching contaminated surfaces or objects. Option C is incorrect because contamination specifically refers to germs spreading through food, water, soil, or plants rather than through touching shared surfaces like door handles. Option D is incorrect because airborne transmission involves inhaling infected droplets from coughing or sneezing in the air rather than touching contaminated surfaces with hands. Here's a question about how disease is spread. Someone touches a door handle that an infected person touched earlier, and they get sick. That's indirect contact transmission. There are several ways infections travel between people. Direct contact means physically touching an infected person. Handshakes, kisses, skin-to-skin contact. Indirect contact means touching something contaminated. Doorknobs, keyboards, phones, shopping carts. The germ survives on the surface long enough for the next person to pick it up. Contamination specifically refers to germs in food, water, or soil, not surfaces you touch with your hands. Airborne transmission happens when you breathe in droplets from someone coughing or sneezing. That's different from touching contaminated surfaces. Here's a WGU C458 OA exam tip for you. Touching contaminated objects or surfaces == indirect contact. Touching the actual infected person == direct contact. Quick recall hook. Indirect == in between object involved. 24. A physician explains to a patient that when the immune system recognizes a foreign substance, it activates a response that causes specific symptoms. These symptoms include swelling, pain, redness, and elevated temperature in the affected area. What is this immune reaction called? A. Inflammatory response. B. Antibody response. C. Allergic reaction. D. Metabolic response. Do you know the answer? Correct answer, A. Inflammatory response. Explanation: option A is correct because the inflammatory response is activated when the immune system recognizes antigens and produces symptoms including swelling, pain, redness, and elevated temperatures. Option B is incorrect because the antibody response specifically refers to the production of proteins that bind to antigens rather than the general symptoms of swelling and redness. Option C is incorrect because an allergic reaction is a specific type of immune overreaction to normally harmless substances rather than the general defensive inflammatory response to pathogens. Option D is incorrect because a metabolic response relates to chemical processes in the body for energy and growth rather than the immune system's reaction to foreign invaders. When your immune system detects something foreign, it triggers a response with specific symptoms: swelling, pain, redness, and heat. That's the inflammatory response. Inflammation is your body's alarm system. When tissue is damaged or invaded, cells release chemicals that increase blood flow to the area. More blood brings more immune cells to fight the threat. The extra fluid causes swelling. The increased blood flow causes redness and warmth. The pressure and chemicals cause pain. The antibody response is more specific. It involves making proteins that target particular invaders. An allergic reaction is inflammation triggered by harmless substances like pollen. It's a type of inflammatory response, but not the general term. Metabolic response relates to energy and chemical processes, not immune reactions. Here's a WGU C458 OA exam tip for you. Swelling, redness, heat and pain together signal inflammation. Quick recall hook. Inflammation equals sign the 4 signs: swelling, redness, heat, pain. 25. An immunologist explains that every foreign invader that enters the body has a unique substance on its surface that the immune system learns to recognize. Different colds and allergies each have their own unique version of this substance. What is this identifying surface substance called? A. Antibody. B. Hormone. C. Antigen. D. Enzyme. Can you guess the answer? Correct answer, C. Antigen. Explanation: option C is correct because antigens are substances on the surface of foreign invaders that the immune system recognizes, with different antigens for each cold virus and allergen. Option A is incorrect because antibodies are proteins produced by the immune system in response to antigens, rather than the surface substances on foreign invaders themselves. Option B is incorrect because hormones are chemical messengers produced by glands in the endocrine system and are not surface markers on foreign invaders recognized by immunity. Option D is incorrect because enzymes are proteins that speed up chemical reactions in the body and are not the identifying substances found on the surface of pathogens. Every foreign invader has a unique substance on its surface that the immune system learns to recognize. Different colds and allergies each have their own version. What's this identifying substance called? It's an antigen. Antigens are like name tags on invaders. They're molecules, usually proteins or sugars, sitting on the surface of bacteria, viruses, pollen, or anything foreign. Your immune system scans for these tags. When it finds one it doesn't recognize, it launches a defense. Each cold virus has different antigens, which is why you can catch multiple colds. Your immunity to one doesn't protect against another. Antibodies are what your immune system makes in response to antigens. They're the lock to the antigen's key. Hormones are chemical messengers from glands, unrelated to immune recognition. Enzymes speed up chemical reactions. Neither identifies invaders. Here's a WGU C458 OA exam tip for you. The marker on the invader equals sign antigen. What your body makes to fight it equals sign antibody. Quick recall hook. Antigen equals sign the antagonist's ID tag. 26. A school nurse notices several students exhibiting watery eyes, nasal congestion, sneezing, and sore throats. She suspects a common illness that accounts for more doctor visits than any other condition in the United States. What type of pathogen causes this frequently occurring respiratory infection? A. Bacteria. B. Fungi. C. Parasites. D. Viruses. Do you know the answer? Correct answer, D. Viruses. Explanation: option D is correct because the common cold is caused by more than 200 different viruses that infect the nose and throat, making it a viral respiratory infection. Option A is incorrect because bacteria are single-celled organisms that cause different infections, like strep throat, and the common cold is specifically caused by viral pathogens. Option B is incorrect because fungi are plant-like organisms such as molds and yeasts that cause infections like athlete's foot rather than respiratory colds. Option C is incorrect because parasites are organisms that live on or in other living things and cause diseases like malaria, not the common cold respiratory infection. Students have watery eyes, congestion, sneezing, and sore throats. The nurse suspects the illness that causes more doctor visits than anything else in the US. What causes the common cold? Viruses. More than 200 different viruses can cause cold symptoms. Rhinoviruses are the most common culprits, but coronaviruses, adenoviruses, and others also cause colds. That's why there's no cure. You need protection against hundreds of different viruses. This is also why antibiotics don't help colds. Antibiotics kill bacteria, and colds are viral. Taking antibiotics for a cold does nothing except contribute to antibiotic resistance. Bacteria cause different infections. Strep throat, bacterial pneumonia. Fungi cause things like athlete's foot and yeast infections. Parasites cause malaria and intestinal worms. None of these cause the common cold. Here's a WGU C458 OA exam tip for you. Common cold with typical symptoms, watery eyes, congestion, sneezing, sore throat, always means virus. Quick recall. Hook, cold equals sign viral, no cure, no antibiotic. 27. A public health official is promoting ways to prevent influenza during flu season. The official emphasizes one specific preventive measure that is most effective at reducing the risk of contracting this potentially deadly viral illness. What is the best way to prevent the flu? A. Taking antibiotics regularly. B. Getting a flu vaccine yearly. C. Drinking extra water daily. D. Avoiding all public spaces. What do you think is the answer? Correct answer, G. Getting a flu vaccine yearly. Explanation. Option B is correct because getting a flu vaccine each year is the most effective method recommended by health officials to prevent influenza infection and its complications. Option A is incorrect because antibiotics only work against bacterial infections and have no effect on preventing viral illnesses like influenza, which requires vaccination for prevention. Option C is incorrect because while staying hydrated supports overall health, drinking extra water does not specifically prevent infection with the influenza virus like vaccination does. Option D is incorrect because completely avoiding public spaces is impractical and unnecessary when vaccination provides effective protection against influenza virus infection. What's the best way to prevent the flu? Getting a flu vaccine yearly. Influenza kills tens of thousands of people in the US every year and hospitalizes hundreds of thousands more. The vaccine is your best protection. It trains your immune system to recognize that year's flu strains before you're exposed. You need it yearly because flu viruses mutate constantly. Last year's vaccine won't match this year's strains. Antibiotics are useless here. Antibiotics fight bacteria and flu is a virus. Taking antibiotics for flu does nothing. Drinking extra water keeps you hydrated but doesn't prevent viral infection. Avoiding all public spaces is impractical and unnecessary when vaccination offers effective protection. Here's a WGU C458 OA exam tip for you. Flu prevention equals sign annual vaccination. Antibiotics never work against viruses. Quick recall hook. Flu shot equals sign first line of defense every year. 28. A college student develops mononucleosis after sharing a drink with an infected roommate. The student learns this illness has a nickname related to how it commonly spreads between people through a specific bodily fluid. How is mononucleosis primarily transmitted between individuals? A. Through contaminated food. B. Through insect bites. C. Through saliva. D. Through blood transfusions. Can you guess the answer? Correct answer, C. Through saliva. Explanation. Option C is correct because mononucleosis is primarily transmitted through saliva, which is why it has earned the nickname the kissing disease among young people and students. Option A is incorrect because contaminated food is a transmission route for diseases like hepatitis A, rather than mononucleosis, which spreads through direct saliva contact. Option B is incorrect because insect bites transmit diseases like malaria and West Nile virus, not mononucleosis, which requires saliva contact for transmission between people. Option D is incorrect because while blood can transmit some infections, mononucleosis is primarily spread through saliva contact rather than through blood transfusions or blood exposure. A college student gets mononucleosis after sharing a drink with an infected roommate. The illness has a nickname related to how it spreads. How is mono transmitted? Through saliva. Mononucleosis is called the kissing disease because it spreads through saliva. Kissing, sharing drinks, sharing utensils, or anything that transfers saliva from one person to another. The Epstein-Barr virus causes most cases. It's extremely common. Most people get infected at some point in their lives, though not everyone develops symptoms. Contaminated food spreads diseases like hepatitis A and salmonella, not mono. Insect bites spread malaria, West Nile and Lyme disease. Blood transfusions can spread hepatitis and HIV, but mono isn't primarily a blood-borne illness. Here's a WGU C458 OA exam tip for you. Mononucleosis =sign kissing disease =sign saliva transmission. Quick recall hook. Mono =sign mouth-to-mouth transmission. 29. A pediatrician examines a child presenting with sudden high fever, severe headache, stiff neck, and vomiting. The doctor suspects an infection causing inflammation of the protective membranes surrounding the brain and spinal cords. What condition is the doctor most likely considering? A. Meningitis. B. Epilepsy. C. Stroke. D. Asthma. What do you think is the answer? Correct answer, AA, meningitis. Explanation: option A is correct because meningitis is the inflammation of the meninges, the protective tissue surrounding the brain and spinal cord, presenting with fever, headache, stiff neck, and vomiting. Option B is incorrect because epilepsy is a brain disorder causing recurring seizures due to abnormal nerve cell signals and does not directly cause inflammation of the protective brain membranes. Option C is incorrect because stroke occurs when blood flow to the brain is blocked, or a blood vessel bursts and presents with weakness or paralysis on one side of the body, difficulty speaking, and other neurological deficits, unlike meningitis. Option D is incorrect because asthma is a chronic respiratory condition affecting the airways in the lungs, causing wheezing, coughing, and shortness of breath, and does not cause inflammation of the membranes surrounding the brain. A child has sudden high fever, severe headache, stiff neck, and vomiting. The doctor suspects inflammation of the membranes around the brain and spinal cord. What condition is this? Meningitis. The meninges are protective membranes wrapping around your brain and spinal cord. When these get infected and inflamed, that's meningitis. The classic triad is fever, headache, and stiff neck. The stiff neck happens because the inflamed meninges get stretched when you bend your neck. Meningitis can be bacterial or viral. Bacterial meningitis is a medical emergency. It can kill within hours. Viral meningitis is usually less severe. Epilepsy causes seizures from abnormal brain signals, not this symptom pattern. Stroke involves blocked blood flow to the brain with different symptoms: facial drooping, arm weakness, speech problems. Asthma affects airways in the lungs, not the brain. Here's a WGU C458 OA exam tip for you. Fever plus headache plus stiff neck =, meningitis until proven otherwise. Quick recall. Hook. Meningitis =, meninges inflamed =, stiff neck is the clue. 30. A nurse educator teaches female patients about preventing urinary tract infections, which are the second most common type of infection in the body. The nurse explains that bacteria from the gastrointestinal tract can spread to the urinary system. What hygiene practice helps prevent this bacterial spread? A. Showering instead of bathing. B. Using scented soap products. C. Wiping from front to back. D. Wearing tight clothing. Do you know the answer? Correct answer, C. Wiping from front to back. Explanation. Option C is correct because wiping from front to back after using the toilet prevents bacteria from the gastrointestinal tract from spreading to the urethra and causing infection. Option A is incorrect because while showering has some benefits, the specific hygiene practice of wiping direction is the key factor in preventing bacterial spread to the urethra. Option B is incorrect because scented soap products can actually irritate the urinary tract and do not address the primary transmission route of bacteria from the anus. Option D is incorrect because wearing tight clothing can actually increase moisture and warmth, which promotes bacterial growth rather than preventing urinary tract infections. A nurse teaches female patients about preventing urinary tract infections, the second most common infection type. Bacteria from the GI tract can spread to the urinary system. What hygiene practice prevents this? Wiping from front to back. The urethra, where urine exits, is close to the anus in females. The GI tract is full of bacteria, including E. coli, the most common UTI cause. If you wipe back to front, you drag those bacteria toward the urethra. Wipe front to back, and you move bacteria away from the urinary opening. Simple physics. Showering versus bathing has some benefits, but doesn't address this specific bacterial transfer route. Scented soaps can actually irritate the area and don't prevent bacteria from spreading. Tight clothing traps moisture and warmth, which promotes bacterial growth, the opposite of prevention. Here's a WGU C458 OA exam tip for you. UTI prevention. In females =sign front to back wiping. Quick recall hook. Front to back =sign. Bacteria stays back. 31. A cardiologist explains to a patient that fatty deposits have built up on the walls of their coronary arteries, narrowing the passages and reducing blood flow to the heart muscle. This buildup can eventually rupture and cause blood clots. What is this fatty deposit material called? A. Plaque. B. Calcitite. C. Cholesterol crystals. D. Arterial mucus. Do you know the answer? Correct answer, A. Plaque. Explanation. Option A is correct because plaque is made up of deposits of cholesterol and other substances that build up on artery walls, narrowing passages and potentially rupturing to cause clots. Option B is incorrect because calcium deposits may be part of plaque, but calcium alone is not the correct term for the fatty buildup that narrows coronary arteries. Option C is incorrect because while cholesterol is a component of plaque, the complete fatty deposit on artery walls is called plaque rather than cholesterol crystals specifically. Option D is incorrect because arterial mucus is not a recognised medical term for the fatty deposits that accumulate on artery walls and cause coronary artery disease. A cardiologist tells a patient that fatty deposits have built up in their coronary arteries, narrowing them and reducing blood flow to the heart. This material can rupture and cause clots. What's it called? Plaque. Arterial plaque is a sticky mixture of cholesterol, fat, calcium, and other substances that accumulates on artery walls over time. As plaque builds up, the artery narrows like a pipe getting clogged. Less blood gets through, meaning less oxygen reaches the heart muscle. If plaque ruptures, a blood clot forms at the site, which can completely block the artery and cause a heart attack. The other options aren't real medical terms for this. Cholesterol is a component of plaque, but plaque is the complete deposit. Here's a WGU C458 OA exam tip for you. Fatty buildup in arteries =sign plaque. Plaque rupture =sign clot =sign heart attack. Quick recall hook. Plaque =sign pipe clogging sludge in arteries. 32. A neurologist explains to a family that their loved one experienced a stroke when an artery supplying oxygen-rich blood to the brain became blocked. This type accounts for approximately 85% of all strokes. What classification of stroke is the neurologist describing? A. Hemorrhagic stroke. B. Transient ischemic attack. C. Aneurysm rupture. D. Ischemic stroke. Can you guess the answer? Correct answer, D. Ischemic stroke. Explanation. Option D is correct because ischemic stroke occurs when the artery supplying oxygen-rich blood to the brain becomes blocked and accounts for 85% of all stroke cases. Option A is incorrect because hemorrhagic stroke occurs when a blood vessel in the brain bursts and bleeds rather than when an artery becomes blocked, cutting off blood supply. Option B is incorrect because a transient ischemic attack is a mini-stroke causing temporary symptoms and does not result in the permanent damage seen in full ischemic strokes. Option C is incorrect because aneurysm rupture is a type of hemorrhagic stroke involving a burst blood vessel rather than an artery blockage that characterizes ischemic strokes. A patient had a stroke when an artery supplying blood to the brain became blocked. This type accounts for about 85% of all strokes. What kind of stroke is this? Ischemic stroke. Ischemia means lack of blood flow. In an ischemic stroke, something blocks an artery feeding the brain, usually a blood clot. Without blood, brain cells don't get oxygen and start dying within minutes. That's why stroke is called a brain attack. Time is critical. The other 15% of strokes are hemorrhagic. That's when a blood vessel in the brain bursts and bleeds. Different mechanism, different treatment. A transient ischemic attack, or TIA, is sometimes called a mini-stroke. Symptoms resolve quickly because the blockage clears. An aneurysm rupture is a type of hemorrhagic stroke, not ischemic. Here's a WGU C458 OA exam tip for you. Blocked artery to brain = ischemic stroke, which is the most common type at 85%. Quick recall hook, ischemic = interrupted blood supply. 33. A patient receives a blood pressure reading where the first number representing pressure during heartbeats is 140 and the second number representing pressure during heart relaxation is 90. The doctor explains this qualifies as a diagnosis of high blood pressure. What is the medical term for this condition? A. Hypertension. B. Arrhythmia. C. Hypertension. D. Tachycardia. What do you think is the answer? Correct answer, C. Hypertension. Explanation. Option C is correct because hypertension is the medical term for high blood pressure. Diagnosed when systolic pressure is 140 or higher, or diastolic is 90 or higher. Option A is incorrect because hypertension refers to abnormally low blood pressure rather than high blood pressure and presents with different symptoms and health concerns than hypertension. Option B is incorrect because arrhythmia refers to irregular heartbeat patterns and is a different cardiovascular condition than high blood pressure measured by systolic and diastolic numbers. Option D is incorrect because tachycardia refers to an abnormally fast heart rate and is not the medical term for elevated blood pressure readings during cardiac cycles. A patient's blood pressure is 140/90. The doctor diagnoses high blood pressure. What's the medical term? Hypertension. Blood pressure has two numbers. The top number, systolic, measures pressure when your heart beats and pushes blood out. The bottom number, diastolic, measures pressure when your heart relaxes between beats. High blood pressure is diagnosed when systolic hits 140 or higher, or diastolic hits 90 or higher. This patient has both. Hypertension means high pressure. Hypertension is the opposite, abnormally low blood pressure. Arrhythmia means irregular heartbeat. A rhythm problem, not a pressure problem. Tachycardia means fast heart rate. Again, about rhythm and rate, not pressure. Here's a WGU C458 OA exam tip for you. Hyper means high. Hypertension means high blood pressure. Quick recall hook. Hypertension = high pressure. 34. An oncologist explains to a patient that cancer cells from their original tumour have broken off and travelled through the bloodstream to form new tumours in distant parts of the body. What is the medical term for this process of cancer spreading to other locations? A. Remission. B. Metastasis. C. Benign growth. D. Inflammation. Do you know the answer? Correct answer, B. Metastasis. Explanation. Option B is correct because metastasis is the process by which cancer cells spread from the original tumour site to distant parts of the body through blood or lymph systems. Option A is incorrect because remission refers to a decrease or disappearance of cancer signs and symptoms rather than the spread of cancer cells to new body locations. Option C is incorrect because benign growths are non-cancerous tumours that do not invade nearby tissues or spread to other parts of the body like malignant cancers do. Option D is incorrect because inflammation is the immune system response causing swelling and redness, and is not the term for cancer cells spreading to distant body locations. Cancer cells from an original tumour have broken off, travelled through the bloodstream, and formed new tumours in distant body parts. What's this process called? Metastasis. Metastasis is what makes cancer deadly. A tumour sitting in one place can often be removed surgically. But once cancer cells break loose and spread through blood or lymph to colonise other organs, treatment becomes far more difficult. Metastatic cancer, also called stage 4 cancer, means the disease has spread beyond its origin. Remission is the opposite. It means cancer signs are decreasing or disappearing. Benign growths are non-cancerous tumours that stay put and don't invade other tissues. Inflammation is an immune response with swelling and redness, not cancer spreading. Here's a WGU C458 OA exam tip for you. Cancer spreading to distant sites equals sign metastasis. Quick recall. Hook. Metastasis equals sign cancer migration to new sites. 35. A patient is diagnosed with a condition where their body either does not produce enough insulin or cannot use insulin efficiently, causing elevated blood sugar levels. This form commonly develops in middle-aged and older adults. Which type of diabetes is this patient most likely diagnosed with? A. Type 1 diabetes. B. Gestational diabetes. C. Type 2 diabetes. D. Prediabetes. What do you think is the answer? Correct answer, CA, type 2 diabetes. Explanation, option C is correct because type 2 diabetes is the more common form that develops when the body lacks sufficient insulin or cannot use insulin efficiently, typically in older adults. Option A is incorrect because type 1 diabetes occurs when the body makes no insulin at all, rather than insufficient insulin, and typically develops earlier in life. Option B is incorrect because gestational diabetes specifically occurs during pregnancy and resolves after delivery, rather than developing in middle-aged and older adults generally. Option D is incorrect because prediabetes indicates blood sugar levels higher than normal, but not high enough for a diabetes diagnosis, representing an earlier stage of the condition. A patient's body either doesn't produce enough insulin or can't use it efficiently, causing high blood sugar. This form commonly develops in middle-aged and older adults. Which type of diabetes is this? Type 2 diabetes. Type 2 is the most common form, about 90 to 95% of diabetes cases. The body still makes insulin, but either not enough or the cells resist it. This insulin resistance means sugar builds up in the blood instead of entering cells for energy. Risk factors include being overweight, inactive, and having a family history. It typically develops later in life, though it's increasingly appearing in younger people due to obesity. Type 1 diabetes is different. The body makes no insulin at all, and it usually develops in childhood. Gestational diabetes only occurs during pregnancy. Prediabetes means blood sugar is elevated but not high enough for a diabetes diagnosis. Here is a WGU C458 OA exam tip for you. Insufficient insulin or insulin resistance in adults equals sign type 2 diabetes. Quick recall, hook, type 2 equals sign 2 problems, not enough insulin or can't use it. 36. A personal trainer explains to a client that one fitness component involves activities requiring the heart and lungs to supply oxygen over extended periods. These activities can be sustained for long durations and improve heart and lung health. Which fitness component is the trainer describing? A. Muscular strength. B. Flexibility. C. Body composition. D. Cardiorespiratory fitness. Can you guess the answer? Correct answer, D. Cardiorespiratory fitness. Explanation: option D is correct, because cardiorespiratory fitness involves the ability to perform whole-body exercise at moderate to vigorous intensity for extended periods using oxygen from heart and lungs. Option A is incorrect because muscular strength refers to the maximum force a muscle can produce in a single effort rather than sustained activity involving the heart and lungs. Option B is incorrect because flexibility refers to the range of motion in joints and does not specifically involve the heart and lungs supplying oxygen during extended activity. Option C is incorrect because body composition refers to the ratio of fat to lean mass in the body rather than the ability to sustain aerobic activity over long periods. A trainer explains that one fitness component involves activities requiring the heart and lungs to supply oxygen over extended periods. These activities improve heart and lung health. Which component is this? Cardiorespiratory fitness. Cardio means heart. Respiratory means lungs. Cardiorespiratory fitness is your ability to sustain moderate to vigorous whole-body exercise for extended periods. Running, swimming, cycling, brisk walking. Your heart pumps oxygenated blood, your lungs take in oxygen, and together they fuel your muscles during aerobic activity. Muscular strength is about maximum force in a single effort, like a 1-rep max bench press. Flexibility is about joint range of motion, how far you can stretch. Body composition is the ratio of fat to lean mass in your body. None of these specifically involve heart and lung endurance during sustained activity. Here's a WGU C458 OA exam tip for you. Heart and lungs plus sustained activity equals cardiorespiratory fitness. Quick recall hook. Cardio equals sign heart. Respiratory equals sign lungs. 37. A fitness instructor clarifies the difference between two similar fitness components. One measures the maximum force produced in a single effort, while the other measures the ability of muscles to work repeatedly over time without fatigue. Which component focuses on repeated muscle work over extended periods? A. Muscular endurance. B. Muscular strength. C. Cardiorespiratory fitness. D. Body composition. Can you guess the answer? Correct answer, A. Muscular endurance. Explanation: option A is correct because muscular endurance is the ability of muscles to continue working repeatedly over extended periods without becoming fatigued, unlike single effort strength. Option B is incorrect because muscular strength specifically measures the maximum force produced in a single effort, rather than the ability to sustain repeated muscle contractions over time. Option C is incorrect because cardiorespiratory fitness focuses on the heart and lungs supplying oxygen during aerobic activity rather than specific muscle group endurance over time. Option D is incorrect because body composition measures the ratio of fat to lean mass and does not relate to muscle performance during repeated contractions over extended periods. A fitness instructor contrasts two components. One measures maximum force in a single effort. The other measures repeated muscle work over time without fatigue, which focuses on repeated work over extended periods. Muscular endurance. Think of muscular strength as lifting the heaviest weight you can one time, your 1-rep max. Muscular endurance is how many times you can lift a lighter weight before your muscles give out. Strength is about power. Endurance is about stamina. A powerlifter needs strength, one massive lift. A rower needs endurance, thousands of strokes over a long race. Both matter, but they're trained differently. Cardiorespiratory fitness involves the heart and lungs, not specific muscle groups. Body composition is about fat versus lean mass. Neither relates to repeated muscle contractions over time. Here's a WGU C458 OA exam tip for you. Repeated muscle work without fatigue equals muscular endurance. Single max effort equals muscular strength. Quick recall hook. Endurance equals endless repetitions. 38. A yoga instructor explains that one fitness component is often neglected despite being crucial for injury prevention and proper posture. This component specifically involves the ability of joints to move through their complete range of motion. Which fitness component does this describe? A. Muscular strength. B. Cardiorespiratory fitness. C. Flexibility. D. Body composition. Can you guess the answer? Correct answer, C. Flexibility. Explanation: option C is correct because flexibility is the ability of joints to move through their full range of motion and is important for injury prevention, proper posture, and overall mobility. Option A is incorrect because muscular strength involves the force muscles can produce rather than the movement range of joints during stretching and mobility activities. Option B is incorrect because cardiorespiratory fitness involves the heart and lungs during aerobic exercise rather than the range of motion that joints can achieve during movement. Option D is incorrect because body composition refers to the percentage of fat versus lean mass in the body rather than the mobility and range of motion of joints. A yoga instructor says one often neglected fitness component is crucial for injury prevention and proper posture. It involves joints moving through their complete range of motion. What component is this? Flexibility. Flexibility is how far your joints can move in their full range, how deep you can squat, how far you can reach behind your back, whether you can touch your toes. It matters because tight muscles and stiff joints lead to poor posture, limited movement, and higher injury risk. Athletes with good flexibility move more efficiently and recover better. Yoga, stretching, and mobility work improve flexibility. Muscular strength is about force production, not joint movement range. Cardiorespiratory fitness involves heart and lung capacity during sustained exercise. Body composition measures fat versus lean tissue. None of these describe joint mobility and range of motion. Here's a WGU C458 OA exam tip for you. Joint range of motion and injury prevention point to flexibility. Quick recall hook. Flexibility equals free movement through full range. 39. A health educator teaches students about 4 elements used to develop effective exercise plans. These elements include how often you exercise, how hard you work, how long each session lasts, and what activities you perform. What acronym represents these 4 exercise planning elements? A. RICE. B. FIT. C. SMART. D. HIT. What do you think is the answer? Correct answer, B. FIT. Explanation. Option B is correct because FIT stands for frequency, intensity, time, and type, which are the 4 essential elements used to develop comprehensive exercise plans for fitness. Option A is incorrect because RICE stands for rest, ice, compression, and elevation, which is a treatment protocol for injuries rather than exercise planning elements. Option C is incorrect because SMART is an acronym for goal-setting criteria, including specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound, not exercise planning components. Option D is incorrect because HIT stands for high-intensity interval training, which is a specific type of workout, rather than an acronym for exercise planning elements. A health educator discusses 4 elements for building exercise plans: how often you exercise, how hard you work, how long each session lasts, and what activities you do. What acronym captures these? FIT. F stands for frequency, how many days per week you exercise. I stands for intensity, how hard you push yourself. T stands for time, how long each workout lasts. T stands for type, what kind of exercise you're doing. These 4 variables let you customize any fitness program. Want more cardio endurance? Increase frequency or time? Want more strength? Increase intensity. RICE is a treatment acronym. Rest, ice, compression, elevation. For injuries, not planning. SMART is for goal setting. Specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, time-bound. HIIT is a workout type. High intensity, interval training, not a planning framework. Here's a WGU C458 OA exam tip for you. Exercise planning elements =, FIT. Frequency, intensity, time, type. Quick recall hook. FIT =, fit it to your training goals. 40. A fitness coach explains that exercising at the right intensity level can be measured by monitoring heart rate during activity. For moderate intensity exercise, a person should maintain a heart rate between 50 and 70% of their maximum. How is maximum heart rate typically calculated? A. Multiplying age by 2. B. Adding age to 100. C. Dividing weight by height. D. Subtracting age from 220. What do you think is the answer? Correct answer, D. Subtracting age from 220. Explanation. Option D is correct because maximum heart rate is estimated by subtracting a person's age from 220, which provides the baseline for calculating target heart rate zones. Option A is incorrect because multiplying age by 2 would produce unrealistic heart rate values and is not the recognised formula for determining maximum heart rate. Option B is incorrect because adding age to 100 would produce inaccurate maximum heart rate estimates and is not the standard calculation used in fitness assessment. Option C is incorrect because dividing weight by height calculates body mass index rather than maximum heart rate, which is determined by age alone using the standard formula. A fitness coach explains that exercise intensity can be measured by heart rate. For moderate intensity, maintain 50 to 70% of maximum heart rate. How do you calculate maximum heart rate? Subtract your age from 220. The formula is simple. 220 minus your age equals your estimated maximum heart rate. A 20-year-old has a max of 200 beats per minute. A 40-year-old has a max of 180. From there, you calculate target zones. Moderate intensity is 50 to 70% of max. Vigorous intensity is 70 to 85%. Multiplying age by 2 gives nonsense numbers. Adding age to 100 doesn't work either. Dividing weight by height calculates BMI, not heart rate. Here's a WGU C458 OA exam tip for you. Maximum heart rate equals 220 minus age. Quick recall hook. 220 minus age equals max rate. 41. A health teacher explains to students that one hygiene practice is considered the single most effective way to reduce the risk of getting sick and spreading germs to others. This practice should be performed for at least 20 seconds with soap. What hygiene practice is being described? A. Brushing teeth. B. Washing hands. C. Shampooing hair. D. Cleaning ears. Can you guess the answer? Correct answer, B. Washing hands. Explanation. Option B is correct because washing hands with soap and water for at least 20 seconds is recognised as the most effective way to reduce illness risk and prevent germ spread. Option A is incorrect because brushing teeth is important for oral hygiene, but it's not the primary practice for preventing the spread of germs and reducing general illness risk. Option C is incorrect because shampooing hair maintains scalp health, but does not address the primary transmission route of germs through hands touching surfaces and faces. Option D is incorrect because cleaning ears is part of personal hygiene, but experts recommend not inserting objects into ears, and it does not prevent general illness transmission. What's the single most effective way to prevent illness and stop germs from spreading? Washing your hands? It sounds basic, but hand hygiene prevents more infections than almost any other intervention. Your hands touch everything: doorknobs, phones, faces, food. Every surface is a potential germ transfer point. Washing with soap and water for at least 20 seconds physically removes pathogens from your skin. The friction matters. The soap breaks down the outer layer of many viruses and bacteria. 20 seconds is about how long it takes to sing Happy Birthday twice. Brushing teeth is great for oral health, but doesn't stop respiratory or gastrointestinal illness spread. Shampooing keeps your scalp clean, but germs don't typically spread through hair. Cleaning ears is actually discouraged. Experts say don't insert anything into your ear canal. Here's a WGU C458 OA exam tip for you. Most effective illness prevention equals hand washing. 20 seconds with soap. Quick recall hook. Hands-free. Spread germs. Hand washing stops them. 42. A dentist advises a patient on proper oral care habits and explains that one tool used for cleaning between teeth should be replaced regularly to maintain effectiveness. The dentist recommends replacing this cleaning tool every 3 to 4 months. What tool requires this regular replacement? A. Dental floss. B. Mouthwash bottle. C. Toothbrush. D. Tongue scraper. What do you think is the answer? Correct answer, C. Toothbrush. Explanation: option C is correct because toothbrushes should be replaced every 3 to 4 months as bristles wear down and become less effective at removing plaque and cleaning teeth. Option A is incorrect because dental floss is disposable and used once rather than being a tool that requires replacement every 3 to 4 months like toothbrushes. Option B is incorrect because mouthwash bottles contain liquid that is used up rather than being a cleaning tool that wears out and requires scheduled replacement. Option D is incorrect because tongue scrapers have different replacement schedules and the 3 to 4 month recommendation specifically applies to toothbrush replacement guidelines. A dentist recommends replacing a cleaning tool every 3 to 4 months. Which tool? The toothbrush. Toothbrush bristles wear down over time. They fray, bend, and lose their stiffness. A worn toothbrush can't clean effectively. The bristles can't reach into grooves or scrub away plaque properly. 3 to 4 months is the standard recommendation, though you should replace it sooner if bristles look frayed or after you've been sick. Dental floss is single use. You throw it away after each use, so there's no replacement schedule. Mouthwash is a liquid you use up, not a tool that wears out. Tongue scrapers may need occasional replacement, but the 3 to 4 month guideline specifically refers to toothbrushes. Here's a WGU C458 OA exam tip for you. 3 to 4 months replacement schedule equals toothbrush. Quick recall hook. Toothbrush equals sign 3 to 4 months, then toss it. 43. A lifeguard instructor teaches parents that drowning is the 5th leading cause of unintentional injury death and occurs quickly and quietly. Children ages 1 to 4 have the highest drowning rates. What safety device should children wear around natural bodies of water, even if they know how to swim? A. Water wings. B. Swimming goggles. C. Flotation noodles. D. Life jackets. What do you think is the answer? Correct answer, D. Life jackets. Explanation. Option D is correct because life jackets should be worn by children around natural bodies of water like lakes and oceans, even if they can swim, as recommended by safety experts. Option A is incorrect because water wings are inflatable toys that are not approved safety devices and do not provide adequate protection against drowning in natural water. Option B is incorrect because swimming goggles help with vision underwater, but provide no flotation or drowning protection for children in natural bodies of water. Option C is incorrect because flotation noodles are pool toys not designed as safety devices and cannot reliably prevent drowning in lakes, rivers, or ocean environments. Drowning is the 5th leading cause of unintentional injury death, and children ages 1 to 4 have the highest rates. What should kids wear around natural bodies of water even if they can swim? Life jackets. Here's what many parents miss. Knowing how to swim isn't enough in natural water. Lakes, rivers, and oceans have currents, waves, cold temperatures, and unpredictable conditions that pools don't have. A child can be a strong pool swimmer and still get overwhelmed in open water. Life jackets keep heads above water, even if a child panics, gets tired, or gets caught in a current. Water wings are toys, not safety devices. They can deflate or slip off. Goggles help you see underwater, but provide zero flotation. Pool noodles are fun, but aren't designed to prevent drowning. Here's a WGU C458 OA exam tip for you. Natural water plus children equals life jacket requirement, regardless of swimming ability. Quick recall hook, life jacket =, lifesaver in natural water. 44. A pediatric nurse teaches parents about preventing burn injuries in children and explains that younger and older children face different burn risks. The nurse notes that one age group is more likely to sustain injuries from hot liquids and steam rather than direct flames. Which age group faces higher risk from scald burns specifically? A. Younger children. B. Teenagers. C. Older children. D. Adults. What do you think is the answer? Correct answer A. Younger children. Explanation: option A is correct because younger children are more likely to sustain scald burns from hot liquids or steam, since they may not be able to move away from hot substances quickly. Option B is incorrect because teenagers are more capable of avoiding hot liquids and are actually more likely to sustain flame burns from direct fire contact than scald burns. Option C is incorrect because older children are more likely to experience flame burns from direct contact with fire rather than scald burns from hot liquids and steam. Option D is incorrect because adults have the awareness and mobility to avoid hot liquids, and the question specifically addresses children at highest risk for scald burn injuries. A pediatric nurse explains that different age groups face different burn risks. One group is more likely to get scald burns from hot liquids and steam rather than flame burns. Which group? Younger children. Scald burns happen when hot liquid or steam contacts skin. Spilled coffee, bath water that's too hot, steam from cooking. Younger children face higher scald risk for a few reasons. They're curious and grab things. They can't react quickly enough to move away. Their skin is thinner and burns more easily. They're at the height where pots and cups sit on counters and tables. Older children and teenagers are more likely to get flame burns from campfires, lighters, fireworks, because they're more mobile and more likely to experiment with fire. Adults have the awareness and reflexes to avoid most scald situations. Here's a WGU C458 OA exam tip for you. Scald burns from hot liquids equals younger children risk. Flame burns equals older kids. Quick recall hook, young plus liquid =, scald danger. 45. A childproofing expert advises parents that everyday household items can be dangerous to curious children who may try to eat or drink unfamiliar substances. The expert recommends storing medicines and cleaning products in a specific way. Where should these potentially poisonous items be kept? A. In lower cabinets for access. B. On countertops for visibility. C. Locked up and away. D. Under the bathroom sink. What do you think is the answer? Correct answer, C. Locked up and away. Explanation: option C is correct because medicines and toxic products should be kept locked up and away where children cannot see or reach them to prevent accidental poisoning incidents. Option A is incorrect because lower cabinets are easily accessible to children who may open them and access dangerous substances, increasing the risk of accidental poisoning. Option B is incorrect because keeping items on countertops makes them visible and potentially reachable by climbing children, which increases poisoning danger rather than preventing it. Option D is incorrect because under the bathroom sink is a common but unsafe location that children can easily access, making it an inappropriate storage place for toxic substances. Where should medicines and cleaning products be stored to protect curious children? Locked up and away. Children are naturally curious. They explore by touching and tasting. Many household products look appealing. Colourful detergent pods look like candy. Medicine bottles are easy to open. Cleaning products have interesting smells. Accidental poisoning is a major cause of emergency room visits for young children. The solution is simple. Lock hazardous materials in cabinets children can't access, preferably high up and out of sight. Lower cabinets are exactly where children can reach. Countertops are visible and climbable. Under the bathroom sink is one of the first places curious toddlers explore. Out of sight and locked equals safe. Here's a WGU C458 OA exam tip for you. Poison prevention equals locked up and away. High, hidden, and secured. Quick recall hook. Locked and away keeps poison at bay. 46. A sleep specialist explains that two internal biological mechanisms work together to regulate when a person feels awake and when they feel ready for sleep. One mechanism follows a 24-hour repeating pattern influenced by light and darkness. What is this daily cycle called? A. Circadian rhythm. B. Homeostatic drive. C. Sleep pressure. D. REM cycle. What do you think is the answer? Correct answer, A. Circadian rhythm. Explanation: Option A is correct because the circadian rhythm is the 24-hour repeating cycle controlled by internal clocks that responds to light and darkness to regulate sleep and wakefulness. Option B is incorrect because the homeostatic drive builds sleep pressure based on time awake rather than following a 24-hour cycle influenced by environmental light cues. Option C is incorrect because sleep pressure refers to the increasing urge to sleep. The longer one stays awake and is not the daily rhythm synchronized with light and darkness. Option D is incorrect because REM cycle refers to the rapid eye movement stage within sleep, rather than the overall 24-hour pattern regulating sleep and wake times. Two internal mechanisms regulate sleep and wakefulness. One follows a 24-hour pattern influenced by light and darkness. What's this daily cycle called? Circadian rhythm. Your circadian rhythm is your internal clock. It runs on roughly a 24-hour cycle, synced to the sun. Light exposure, especially in the morning, tells your brain it's daytime, promoting alertness. Darkness triggers melatonin release, making you sleepy. This is why jet lag happens. Your internal clock doesn't match the new time zone. The homeostatic drive is different. It builds sleep pressure the longer you stay awake, regardless of time of day. Sleep pressure is another name for this same concept. The REM cycle refers to a stage within sleep, not the overall daily rhythm, controlling when you feel awake or tired. Here's a WGU C458 OA exam tip for you. 24-hour cycle tied to light and darkness equals circadian rhythm. Quick recall hook. Circadian equal sign, circle of the day, tied to light. 47. A neurologist describes the stage of sleep when eyes move rapidly from side to side behind closed eyelids. Breathing becomes faster and irregular, and most dreaming occurs. The arm and leg muscles become temporarily paralyzed during this stage. Which sleep stage has these characteristics? A. Stage 1 non-REM. B. Stage 2 non-REM. C. Stage 3 non-REM. D. REM sleep. Can you guess the answer? Correct answer, D. REM sleep. Explanation. Option D is correct because REM sleep is characterized by rapid eye movements, irregular breathing, increased heart rate, dreaming, and temporary muscle paralysis of arms and legs. Option A is incorrect because stage 1 non-REM is a light transitional sleep between wakefulness and deeper sleep, without the rapid eye movements or vivid dreaming characteristic of REM. Option B is incorrect because stage 2 non-REM involves slowing heartbeat and breathing with muscle relaxation, but does not include rapid eye movements or significant dreaming activity. Option C is incorrect because stage 3 non-REM is deep slow-wave sleep, needed for feeling refreshed, but does not feature rapid eye movements or the intense dreaming of REM sleep. A neurologist describes a sleep stage with rapid eye movements, irregular breathing, vivid dreaming, and temporary muscle paralysis. Which stage is this? REM sleep. REM stands for rapid eye movement. During this stage, your eyes dart back and forth under closed lids. That's where the name comes from. Your brain is highly active, almost like being awake, which is when most vivid dreams occur. Your body temporarily paralyzes your major muscles, called atonia, probably to prevent you from acting out dreams. Heart rate and breathing become irregular. You cycle through REM multiple times per night, with REM periods getting longer toward morning. Stage 1 non-REM is light transitional sleep, no rapid eye movements. Stage 2 involves slowing body functions, but no vivid dreams. Stage 3 is deep, slow-wave sleep for physical restoration. None of these have the RM characteristics. Here's a WGU C458 OA exam tip for you. Rapid eye movements plus dreaming plus muscle paralysis equals REM sleep. Quick recall, hook. REM equals sign rapid eyes moving while you dream. 48. A school nurse discusses with teachers why students may struggle with attention and behaviour. Research shows that inadequate sleep affects critical thinking abilities and academic performance. According to sleep guidelines, how many hours of sleep do school-aged children and adolescents need each night? A. 4 to 6 hours. B. 6 to 8 hours. C. 8 to 10 hours. D. 12 to 14 hours. Do you know the answer? Correct answer, C. 8 to 10 hours. Explanation. Option C is correct because sleep guidelines recommend 8 to 10 hours of sleep for school-aged children and adolescents to support proper cognitive function and academic performance. Option A is incorrect because 4 to 6 hours is significantly less than the recommended amount and would lead to sleep deprivation, affecting attention, behaviour, and learning ability. Option B is incorrect because 6 to 8 hours is below the recommended range for children and adolescents whose developing brains require more sleep than adults typically need. Option D is incorrect because 12 to 14 hours is the recommended range for infants and toddlers rather than school-aged children and adolescents who need less sleep. How many hours of sleep do school-aged children and adolescents need each night? 8 to 10 hours. Sleep is when the brain consolidates learning, processes memories, and physically restores itself. Kids and teens need more sleep than adults because their brains are still developing. Sleep deprivation in children shows up as attention problems, behaviour issues, and poor academic performance, symptoms that sometimes get mistaken for ADHD. 4 to 6 hours would leave anyone severely sleep deprived. 6 to 8 is the adult recommendation, not for developing minds. 12 to 14 hours is appropriate for infants and toddlers, not school-aged children. The sweet spot for kids in school through adolescence is 8 to 10 hours every night. Here's a WGU C458 OA exam tip for you. School-aged children and adolescents need 8 to 10 hours of sleep. Quick recall hook. School kids equals sign 8 to 10 hours no less. 49. A public health researcher presents data showing that sleep deficiency is linked to numerous chronic health problems and safety risks. The researcher notes that driver sleepiness not related to alcohol is responsible for serious accidents. Which health problem is not typically associated with chronic sleep deprivation? A. Heart disease, B. Improved memory, C. Obesity, D. Depression. What do you think is the answer? Correct answer, B. Improved memory. Explanation. Option B is correct because improved memory is not associated with sleep deprivation. In fact, sleep deficiency impairs memory consolidation and cognitive function. Option A is incorrect because heart disease is linked to chronic sleep deprivation, making it a health consequence of poor sleep. Option C is incorrect because obesity is associated with sleep deficiency due to hormonal changes affecting appetite and metabolism. Option D is incorrect because depression is linked to chronic sleep deprivation as a health consequence. A researcher lists health problems linked to chronic sleep deprivation. Which one is not associated with poor sleep? Improved memory. This is a trick question. It asks what's not connected to sleep deprivation. Improved memory is actually the opposite of what happens. Sleep is essential for memory consolidation. When you're sleep deprived, your memory gets worse, not better. Heart disease is genuinely linked to poor sleep. Sleep deprivation increases blood pressure and inflammation. Obesity is connected because sleep affects hunger hormones. Tired people tend to eat more and crave high-calorie foods. Depression and sleep deprivation feed each other in a vicious cycle. All three wrong answers are real consequences of not sleeping enough. The only one that doesn't fit is improved memory. That's what good sleep gives you, not sleep deprivation. Here's a WGU C458 OA exam tip for you. Read carefully for not questions. Improved memory is a benefit of good sleep, not a consequence of deprivation. Quick recall hook. Sleep deprivation hurts memory. Improved memory doesn't belong. 50. A wellness coach provides tips for improving sleep quality to a client who struggles with insomnia. The coach recommends avoiding the use of certain devices 30 minutes before bedtime because their light can interfere with natural sleep signals. What type of devices should be avoided before bed? A. Analog alarm clocks, B. Reading lamps with warm bulbs, C. Digital devices like phones, D. White noise machines. Do you know the answer? Correct answer, C. Digital devices like phones. Explanation. Option C is correct because digital devices like smartphones, tablets, and computers emit blue light that interferes with natural sleep signals and should be avoided 30 minutes before bedtime. Option A is incorrect because analog alarm clocks do not emit the blue light that disrupts sleep cycles and are not the devices sleep experts recommend avoiding before bedtime. Option B is incorrect because reading lamps with warm bulbs produce less disruptive light than digital screens and are generally acceptable for use before sleep, unlike electronic devices. Option D is incorrect because white noise machines actually help some people fall asleep by masking disruptive sounds and are not devices that interfere with natural sleep signals. A wellness coach says to avoid certain devices 30 minutes before bed because their light interferes with sleep signals. What devices? Digital devices like phones. Smartphones, tablets, computers, and televisions emit blue light. Blue light suppresses melatonin production, the hormone that makes you sleepy. Your brain interprets blue light as daylight, so using these devices before bed tells your brain to stay alert when you're trying to wind down. The recommendation is to stop screen use at least 30 minutes before sleep. Analog alarm clocks don't emit blue light. They just tell time. Reading lamps with warm bulbs produce yellow-orange light that doesn't suppress melatonin the same way. White noise machines actually help sleep by masking disruptive sounds. They don't interfere with sleep signals at all. Here's a WGU C458 OA exam tip for you. Blue light from screens before bed equals poor sleep. Avoid phones, tablets, and computers 30 minutes before sleep. Quick recall hook. Blue light equal sign, bad for bedtime. You have reached the end of our first question set. For the free complete exam preparation, visit our website link in the description, where you find thousands more practice questions and comprehensive study guides. Thanks for studying with us today. See you in the next video.